Hello, hello. Tonight we have the movie Black Cab, which came out in this year, 2024. Very exciting. It's a movie that stars Nick Frost as a disturbed cab driver. Good times. So, spoiler alert, you know the drill. Try to make this one quick. I know I always say that, and I never do, but I will try this time for real. So the abridged version. Starts out, this woman has a nightmare. She's in a cab. There's like ghostly things going on and whatnot, and she wakes up to her phone ringing, which is her boyfriend slash fiance, whatever, who's being a bit of a dink. I couldn't quite make out what he was saying. It was audible, but I guess the TV was too quiet. But anyway, she's basically like, yeah, no, I don't think so. And she's like, fine, you can stay the night. You happy? There, you won. Like, shut up. Anyway, they end up meeting their friends for drinks at the pub or whatever. And it turns out that he announces that they're getting married. So they're engaged. And I guess she didn't want to announce it just yet. And he did. Blah 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 blah. So they have a little. She gets pissed off and goes to the bathroom because, like, she on the call she had told him, like, I'm not ready to tell to. Well, all she said was I'm not ready, but I'm assuming it means I'm not ready to tell them, so that's fine. Anyway, she storms in the bathroom and her friend comes in and is like, "What the hell is going on? Like, are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I don't like him. I don't, after he cheated on you and everything and blah 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 blah, and just being a supportive friend and whatnot." Anyway, they end up getting into a cab. Boyfriend rather aggressively insists on coming with her in the cab. So they leave, and I think she saw she thought she saw a person in the cab, but there was no one there, so whatever. That's fine. Foreshadowing. So they're driving, and they're kind of having a quarrel in the back, and the cabbie's like, "Do you want me to kick this guy out? Like, if he's being an asshole, I can call another cab and they can take him home." And she's like, "No, it's fine, whatever." Anyway, that being said, the guy is being a dick to the cabbie, and the cabbie's being a dick back to the guy, so that's all fun. And they pull into this little an underpass or whatever, and he's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna go get out and get the map so I can get you where you gotta go." And they're like, "Okay." Also, sorry, like, before that, in the cab, he's like, I remember you from something, right? Can't quite put my finger on it. Turns out that he was a cab driver who drove her to a maternity clinic. So, reveal, she has baby in her, and Patrick, I guess I should get their names out of the way. So there's Anne, who's the woman, Patrick, who's the boyfriend, husband, whatever, and Ian is the cab driver. Anyway, Patrick's like, "This is how I find out," and she's like, "I was gonna tell you." And he's like, "Yeah, like when?" You have more of a fight, and like, anyway, that's when they pull over, and he goes and he's like, "I'm gonna get the map," and he's like, "Get the map? What the fuck?" He's like, "Yeah, I remember this. He really is getting the map." Anyway, he's not. He's getting a cattle prod, and he totally cattle prods Patrick. But before he does that, Anne is like, "Okay, I'm gonna get out of this cab. This is stupid already." So she goes to open the door and it's locked. And Patrick goes for the door and his is locked. He's like, "Can you unlock us?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure." And he comes back around from the truck and opens the door, and boom, cattle prods Patrick. Patrick is out, totally electrocuted. She's freaking out, like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Yeah, so we're going on a little adventure." Anyway, on this wonderful, delightful drive, she's finally asked, like, "Where are we going?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're going to my place, basically. We're going down the most haunted road in Britain." And he tells, like, a little story about, like, a ghost that can be seen sometimes on the side of the road as a hitchhiker. Sometimes it'll just appear in your back seat, but it always wants one thing: a child or a baby. So there's a baby-eating ghost out there. Long story short, basically, him with his long hours and whatnot, one night he saw this ghost and pulled over, I guess thinking it was a person, but then realized what it was, and before he could do anything, it was in the back seat, and it just points, go. And he goes. and it turned into his wife or whatever, and she's crying or something, and then he looks behind, like he sees in the mirror, and then he looks behind and there's no one there. He's like, what the fuck? And so anyway, he goes home. This is all like him telling the story or whatever. He goes home, and his wife thinks that he's cheating on him or whatever because he was out like with this ghost freaking the hell out, and comes home super late, and she's like, you're cheating on me with every fucking Mary Sue in the town or whatever. And so he sleeps on the couch that night, but he hears noises coming from upstairs, and he goes up, and in his son's room he sees this ghost looking over the crib, and it's like telling him to kill it, basically, like smother it, blah blah blah. And he makes a pact with this ghost saying, listen, spare my child. I literally just brought someone to like a maternity clinic. I will bring you this woman and you can have her child. So this is Anne. So all this happened, I guess, like either the day following or the same day that he took her to the maternity ward. Sounds like a perfect plan. I mean, at the expense of someone else's child, but whatever. Anyway, tells that story, and basically she starts seeing things like she's having dreams. She passes out. He like drugged her so she'd stop like talking and crying and shit. And while she was out, she had visions of this ghost at the side of the road, and then in the back seat, and like putting its arms around her stomach where her baby is and whatnot. Good times all around with that. And anyway, they arrive at his place, which is a rundown motel. It's like just some beat up place. And he's like, yeah. So basically the story is the ghost is like, it's haunting me or my cab or something because it's following me. So I had to get it away from my son. I live here in this shithole. They live in the house that I'm paying for. I had to leave them literally to save my son. So, I mean, it's kind of sympathetic. But that's where they are. And he's like, okay, so I'll tell you what. If you help me move Patrick's unconscious body into the motel or whatever, I won't kill him. And she's like, really? He's like, yeah. So he unties her and they move Patrick in, and Patrick's still out. He did come to briefly while they stopped at the gas station on the way there, and he's like, I'm gonna fight him. And she's like, you're in no condition to fight him. Like, you're fried right now. Like, just calm down. All right. So I guess he's gonna wait for his moment or whatever. Anyway, he brings her into this motel room, and he's like, there's a sleeping bag there, or if you're a friggin' princess, there's blankets or whatever. And he puts a little pillow under Patrick's like unconscious head. Like, I guess he's even being nice to him now and honoring his promise, right? So whatever, that's neither here or there. And he leaves the room. For some reason he leaves his keys in the room, which, so I mean, I guess that's a sure tell sign that he's not like a guy who's done this before by any means, driven to basically sacrifice someone else to protect his family. But he clearly doesn't have experience doing this, because the keys are right on the table. So why should he leave the keys up on the table? Because he wanted to. I don't know, but that's so stupid. So she grabs the keys and she basically goes, and Patrick is like sort of half awake, whatever, and he's like, basically she drags him out to like the front gate that he locked when they got into the hotel. It's like the gate entrance to the motel itself or whatever. And she's fiddling with the keys, trying to do that, and then he appears, too bad. And he cattle prods the shit out of Patrick. Like, bad. She's like, I thought you said you weren't going to kill him. And he's like, oh, guess what? I changed my mind. And then he box cutters his neck, and, well, Patrick's toast. So, like him or not, whether he was becoming a better person or he's still a shithead, he dead. But not before confessing that the person that he slept with was actually the very friend that was at the bar with them that night trying to tell her to leave him. So that's nice. That's going to be a whole other conversation for her when she gets back. Anyway, out in the open, he dead. And there's like a chase sequence, and he chases her through the motel, and she runs outside and he follows her, and for some reason she runs back into the motel. Like, if you're outside, that's probably your best shot, but no, I guess she's doing like a loop around diversion or whatever, which she does, and I guess that buys her enough time to make it to the cab, and she gets in and she's going through this key ring of like 40 different keys, and finally gets the cab and starts it, and it goes, and it starts, but just as it starts, he pulls her out the window, so it's too late. And he cattle prods her, and then he's like, oh fuck, what have I done? The baby, shit. He's like, I'm so bad at this. And he's like, I know, I'll cut it out of her with the box cutter. We'll like force a premature labor. I don't know in his head how that made him think that was a good idea, because I mean, I'm sure that if the baby's not dead from the shock, I'm sure that would kill it. But that's his plan, so that's what he's gonna do. She's like, no, I feel it kicking, it's still good. And he's like, oh, thank God. So the baby's fine, he doesn't cut her open. They get back in the car. Obviously he's like over it. He's not down for letting her get some sleep or anything. He's just like, let's get this done, let's go sacrifice your baby. So they continue down this like country road. It's like way outside London by now. I assume it was London. It was a black cab. I don't know if there are black cabs like all over the UK or whatever, but I don't know. I'm assuming it's London. Anyway, they're outside of the city, whatever it is, and it's kind of in the boonies in the middle of nowhere. And he slows down as he sees the ghost standing in the middle of the road, and he stops the car and he gets out. How's it going? He doesn't do that, but you know what I'm saying. The ghost is basically waiting for the child, essentially. So he goes to the back, he pulls her out, cuts her like restraints, and it's like, get on your knees. we're gonna make this quick. And then she reveals, yeah, so I don't actually have a baby. That day where you like drove me to the maternity clinic, I had actually lost it. He's like, what? You're kidding me. This won't work. That's not gonna work. So he's panicking. He like wanders down the road a little bit, like stressed out, like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? She sees this ghost and she's like, you took it, didn't you? Because she had that vision of like the hands on her stomach when she was in the very cab that he was driving that was haunted. So obviously she did take her baby. So she's enraged. She's like, you stole it from me. And she like rushes the ghost. I mean, it's a blind rage, what are you gonna do? You don't think, oh, it's a ghost, it's not like a corporeal figure, like. Anyway, she rushes it, the ghost disappears. It's like, I don't have time for this. So it fucks off, and she, stressed, is like running into the woods screaming, trying to find this ghost, assuming, I guess, it lives in the woods. I mean, sure. Anyway, Ian circles back to his cab and he's like looking. Is Anne there? No one's there. Okay, that's bizarre. He's looking in the back seat. Like, the ghost is nowhere around either. So are we good? Like, did my gesture work, or am I shit out of luck? Anyway, he's driving and his phone rings, and it's the first time that his wife had called him in, like, since all this happened, I guess, wanting to resolve shit. And he's like, oh my god, it's her. And he's so distracted and happy by the fact that she's calling him and wanting to talk to him again, that's when Anne runs out of the forest into the road and is like, oh shit, and boom, he smokes her. She's down. He's like, oh fuck. He gets out. Like, I don't know why he cares at this point, but he gets out, I guess, to see if she's still there. Does he have to dispose of a body? Like, what's the story? There's no body. She's gone. What does that mean? I don't fucking know. Maybe it was the ghost, like, using her form. Because, I mean, it appeared as his wife before. So I guess it can, like, take on form of someone you know. And it must have taken on the form of Anne to get him to stop the car. So, no body. He gets in the car. He drives off. And that's when he notices, I guess, I don't know, man. He just looks in the mirror and it's like, oh, fuck. There's the ghost again. So the curse was not broken. He still can't go home. Don't know what happened to Anne, because it just cuts out to the credits at that point. But he still can't go home. He still can't see his son because this ghost is still with him and it still wants something. And he wasn't able to give it what he offered. So, yeah, that's it. That was the movie. Let's see, ratings. Well, I mean, okay, first of all, kind of a neat concept, I guess. Like, I don't know. The acting was fine. I do like Nick Frost. He's pretty solid. He's usually in like, I know him more from like the comedy films, like you know, Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead and stuff like that. But he was pretty solid in a more serious role too. So props to him. I didn't know the other two actors, but they did well as well. So acting was fine. The pace was actually not bad because it was fast paced a little bit. A lot of it took place in the car, but I don't mind those kind of like one setting movies. I mean, they did go into the hotel too, and there was the bar scene and stuff, but it was mostly in the car. It was kind of like psychological, just build up of like the story, like the ghost, his family, the whole situation with her and Patrick and whatnot, and it was done well. But it wasn't phenomenal. Like, it wasn't like, oh man, this was a great movie. It was decent, but I don't know if I would watch it again for like another couple of years, honestly. Like, there's some movies you watch like every year or every other year or a couple times a year. This is not one of those. So I'm thinking mid sixes. Let's do like a 6.5, just plain old 6.5. It was passable. I don't regret watching it. I doubt I'll watch it again though. Yeah, I guess check it out if you like those kind of like more psychological, like build up kind of thriller type movies, or if you like the one setting movies, like, you know, what was another one that was like Phone Booth, for example? That was one of them, or Room. I think it was called Room with like Brie Larson or whatever. Like, those movies are done well, and this is. Well, I mean, I guess it's not the same because they're driving in a cab, but it's, you know, I'm gonna shut up because it's getting too long. Check it out or don't. If you check it out, you won't hate it, probably. If you don't check it out, you're not missing a lot, so I'll leave that one up to you. But 6.5, Black Cab. Peace.